Now very pleased to be joined by the two-time NBA Slam Dunk champion and recent G-League MVP, Mac McClung. Mac, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You are among the stars of a new docuseries about the G-League, The Break, presented by The General. Very cool. We get to see a little glimpse of life in the G. Can I say that? That sounds like I'm trying to be too cool. It sounds like I'm trying to be one of the life in the G League.
Great. You sound great. No, you sound good.
Do guys in the G League call it the G?
I think that's the most common term.
All right,
Howard.
there you
I
go.
think you hit it. I think you hit the nail on the head.
I'm on safe ground. You're on a two-way deal this season, so that's new for you. How is it different now? This is year 4 for you in the G League. Year 4, trying to navigate just this whole scenario of the G League, trying to make it to the NBA. You've bounced a little bit back and forth. What's different about where you are now on a two-way deal and back with the same team? You're with the Orlando Magic / Osceola Magic. How is that different for you than the first couple of years of doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a couple different two-ways, so I'm used to this a little bit, but I think also this is the first year I've started somewhere on a contract. And just the balancing, speaking of the break and the general, like being able to follow this schedule, you balance being ready for the NBA when you get your opportunity, but also trying to be successful in the G League while you're there. So that's why I'm super excited about these series and these episodes coming out, because people can see, how, sometimes difficult and exciting this lifestyle is, man. So, being my first time starting out on an NBA contract, it's, an honor and really cool.
Does it give you a little bit different perspective going into the season where, okay, I'm starting on the two-way as opposed to picking it up midway through? So there's actually, it seems like the fact that you have that the Magic extended that, and also that they brought you back, that's kind of like a vote of confidence, right? We've seen something, and you had a phenomenal year last season, that maybe they've seen something where now you come into this season with maybe a little bit different expectation. And do they convey that at all? Do they say, look, we're going to need you at, certain junctures during the NBA season with the Orlando Magic as opposed to the G League team? Is there a different framework, and how does that change the way you're, kind of approaching the season?
Yeah, I think that when you're not on a two-way, you want a two-way, and then when you're on the two-way, you want to protect the two-way. So it's a double-edged sword there, but I think also Orlando is so good with communicating with everybody. They are I trust this organization when they want to see certain things out of me. So I'm really just trying to do what they need from me, and when the time's right, if there is time, I'll be ready. And I can only say great things about this organization and how they've really treated me and been open with me.
I mentioned you winning MVP last season. It was really a breakout year, and just statistically, you were off the charts. What do you think clicked differently? I know it's a little hard, with the G League, because day to day, month to month, the roster changes all the time, right? It's there's a lot more volatility in the G League in general. But was there something in particular that kind of allowed you to make kind of that leap last season? What did that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's tough. Rosters change, everything. I think I was put in a really good situation by my coach and teammates, and I felt like I've had strong years in the G, and it kind of just worked out time and place. But I think really what helped me is each year I don't focus on certain goals, but the only one thing is how do I get better? My goals are taking my weaknesses each year and becoming more each year. How can I be better than I was last year? And that's really my only mindset. And I feel like that kind of helps me from thinking of distractions or wanting certain things that maybe aren't right for me. So shout out to the development team with the G League and the front office. They all helped me grow and gave me some pointers they wanted me to work on. And, my game was flowing near the end of the season, and I was really honored to get that award. That award meant a lot to me and made me feel, really good.
Do you have a sense of all right, I've accomplished this much, right? And you the scoring really came around last year. Is there, when the coaches from the Orlando Magic are talking to you, is there a sense of what, we're going to need you to do X, Y, Z, or we need to see a little bit more on the playmaking side, or maybe defensively. Are there, is there a kind of an outline there of like kind of boxes you need to check perhaps to get on the NBA roster permanently or just on a more regular basis? I know a lot of that's just opportunity, right? Sometimes like, no one's rooting for anybody to get hurt, but sometimes it's just a matter of how a season unfolds. But do you have a sense of what it might take to get that foothold and keep it?
I've lost connection. I lost you for a second, but I think I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. I think I was going to say a lot of it's timing, and you don't wish anything bad upon anybody. And I think my goal for this year is really just to be, I've shown a lot in the G League of scoring and, won a championship and those things. And I think this year is about managing the game, being a point guard, really showing that I can dominate off not scoring, and passing and being a leader. That's important for me this year. And, I think a lot of it is God's timing and it being the right situation for you. And, but I don't look at it like that. You know what I mean? I'm going to apply pressure as much as possible. That's important for me to apply pressure each year.
You're at the Winter Showcase, which is going on this week and through the weekend. Do players in the G League see that as an important time to shine? Like, is this a tentpole event for the league, in that all the GMs, all the scouts, like everybody's gathered in Orlando to see all of you guys play? And we've just entered the unofficial trade season in the NBA. Like, there's going to be a lot more movement and transactions coming up over the next couple of months. Are you guys conscious of that as players? Like, these guys are all here to see us, and like, this is, whether it's to be called up by the Magic or whether it's another team that might be interested via trade or other avenues. Do you see this as like, this is the stage, like this is the time to make the impression?
Most definitely. I think, teams do the research and they know players. And I think, and if you have a horrible game, I don't think it represents you for the rest of the year or anything. But I think I've seen players change their lives off of this showcase. I've seen players get a call up and be on that team for 2 years. And like obviously so many call ups come from this showcase right here. I know everyone feels that moment, but I think it's also important to be yourself. Play the right way, play the game, but like be yourself. Don't put too much pressure on it. We work too hard for too long to put too much pressure on this weekend. Just be yourself and play the right way.
Yeah. When the crowds get bigger, do you feel that we talked about this when you and I sat down, chatted a year and a half ago, but like in moments like this, is there more pressure to dunk? Like, I know like the slam dunk competition is its own thing. The games and the competition and basketball is a different thing in some sense. But when you walk onto the court every day as the 2-time slam dunk champion, how do you balance the putting on a show or trying to put on a show and do something splashy versus, just trying to make winning plays?
I mean, I kind of like it because I can, people comes, I hear people in the crowd dunk, but like, it's like a chance to like me show you like, yo, I can hoop. Like, I can't wait to show you guys, like, I'm a lot more than a dunker. And, I can dominate the game in different ways. And that's something that always excites me, almost like as like a challenge. So I don't ever feel pressure to dunk. I feel like it's like an opportunity to show people like other exciting points in my game and, how I play basketball.
When we talked in 2023, this was like just, I think, a few weeks or maybe a month or two after you'd won the first slam dunk title. And one of the things I was curious about was like, how does this change your life, right? You went from being, certainly not anonymous. You were a viral sensation and an Instagram star before winning the slam dunk competition, but you put yourself on a lot more people's radars that weekend. And a lot came with that. There was a lot more people just recognizing you, asking for autographs, crowding you at airports and all the restaurants, whatever, all these things. Also great sponsorship opportunities. There was just a lot that came with it. And it seemed like at the time you were really trying to figure out, just as an individual, like, how do I manage all of this instant fame? And then things, I imagine, calm down a little bit, and then you go and you win it again. Was it different the second time? Was it a whole new deluge of attention, opportunities, and all that comes with it? Like, are you handling it differently now?
Yeah, I think the first time when we met and, you asked me that question. I was so lost because I think that weekend I remember I had like 10 interviews in 10 hours, straight. And it was all the biggest ones. And I was like, man, this is incredible, blah, blah, blah. But like, there was so much going on. Like you said, like when I go to the airport, right after, obviously
Yeah.
the tension's higher than ever. And I was so overwhelmed. I wouldn't say lost. Let me read. I was so overwhelmed and trying to adjust to all of it. Coming to it last year, had a little bit more comfortability knowing what was going to happen. I do feel like, it was, maybe people that didn't watch the year before watched that. But I felt like it built it up more. And I felt like I definitely felt, more than I have when I first started the G League, people noticing me and, coming up to me. And, I think those contests have definitely changed my life in that aspect. But it has also brought really cool partnerships, cool people, and great relationships into my life as well. So there's definitely a positive more than negative.
Yeah. What's the best thing to come out of it?
Um, Really just I think just my boys being able to be a part of it, man. I can't explain how much like I have such cool best friends, and they always come and us just being able to live that life together. I'll never forget those memories. Us just being there and feeling like, the world was watching for, that first time. That's how it felt,
Yeah.
and it was so cool to be from such a small town and then like be able to experience that with my best friends. Like I'll never take that for granted.
You dunked over a couple of them, if I recall, correct?
Yeah, I had to have them a part of it for sure.
I love that. This is going to sound a little bit like a stretch, but bear with me because I think this works. So this weekend, your team's going to be playing the South Bay Lakers and Bronny James Jr. You and Bronny probably have almost nothing in common, except both of you kind of became viral sensations or Instagram stars, social media sensations before you were actually in the league, NBA or G League. And it's different. Obviously, Bronny grew up as the son of LeBron James. So I don't want to stretch the analogy too far, but can you relate a little bit, you think, to, I don't know, the spotlight and the pressure and just the kind of the unique lens that we're viewing him through because we knew who Bronny was long before this. And now he, like you, is just trying to carve out a career, right? He's just trying to establish who he is. He's got to get out of his dad's shadow. I'm not saying you have to get out of the shadow of the slam dunk titles, but there is a little bit of that tension, right? Of wanting to be seen as a player and not just a showman. Do you think there's a little bit of a, can you relate a little bit maybe to what he's going through right now?
Yeah, I don't think I can relate to the level of attention. I don't think I have to deal with as near as much attention as he does, and I can't relate to that. I think, um, you know, it must be incredibly hard for something to go well one day and everyone celebrates you. And I'll stop myself. I heard a quote once. People will say, um, "You're the best thing that ever happened," and then they'll say you're the worst thing that ever happened, and you're neither of those things. And I think I think Bronny's on God's plans for him, and I'm wishing him the absolute best. I think he's doing a great job. I think um, none of us in the G League have had to deal with the pressure he has right now, but I believe in him, and I think the best is yet to come for him.
Have you seen much of him just in terms of play? And I assume you guys going to be checking each other this weekend. You have a sense of what that matchup will be like.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not? I think he's all over the internet, and I've seen him play. I think he's a good player, man. I think we all go through growing pains, good and bad, and I think he's doing a great job.
I would be remiss if I didn't at least ask whether you have any thoughts about defending your back-to-back dunk titles. That process, I think, will be starting pretty soon if it hasn't already, with the league reaching out to folks and seeing who wants to get in there. Are you planning to defend the title?
I always joke and say you're the first person to ask me that. No, but I think it's funny,
Sorry to
man.
ask the most obvious question possible, but I felt like I had to check the box.
No, it's funny. No, I understand. I think the most funny of all this is like every time it's over with, you want to be like, man, like I won the dunk contest. That's it. Then the first question, like, you gonna do it again next year? And then every time that's the first question, and then those questions just keep rumbling in. But I think I'm really thinking and praying on it. I think that if I do it, I really want to be prepared and I want to put a lot of effort into it. So I'm just seeing if it's right for me right now, and I'm really thinking on it.
I mean, every year we think that, oh, not every year. A lot of years we think maybe the dunk contest is just over because it feels like it's gotten stale. There's nothing new. And then you come along and you lit the place up in Utah, and then you did it again in Indianapolis. And I think it restores belief in the competition itself. But as you just alluded to, it takes a ton of preparation, and to try to do something that is either new or just spectacular in a way that we hadn't seen before. Like, the bar is really high, and it's tough because people like me, the media, the fans, we are expecting or hoping for every slam dunk contest to blow us away. And so, I'm sure there's a lot of thought that has to go into that, and just the creative process too, of thinking, well, if you're going to do it a third time, what can you do now that you haven't already tried, right?
Yeah, that's very tough. I'll start off by saying, yeah, it's extremely tough to think of more things, but it being the NBA dunk contest, it deserves that pressure. It's such an amazing contest that, yeah, it deserves that pressure. It should be. It's such a special stage that I like that pressure. You know what I mean? If I do it, I'm gonna work my tail off. Each year I've worked so hard to try to make great dunks and think of new things. But yes, it is extremely challenging on your mind and body, and stressful, because you want the fans to love what you do, and you want them to see the hard work you put in. So, yeah, I'm just going to pray on a thing if it's right for me. And I probably won't do it if I feel like I haven't, put enough time in, and have something that the people will like.
Yeah. All right. Well, selfishly, and on behalf of a lot of fans out there, I hope you do it again, because we've really enjoyed you so far. I will leave on this note. One of the things you mentioned in the docuseries, The Break, you're reading a book. There's a quote in there about happiness that is something to the effect of that you're no longer trying to find happiness, that you're just going to appreciate where you are, and then happiness will find you. So on that note, what is happiness for you now at this moment?
For me now, yeah, I think gratitude is always the key to happiness, and for me. And I think just enjoy becoming. Each year I'm trying to become more, and it's so important for me this year, my motto just to enjoy becoming. I don't know what's going to happen in my life, but I am trying to become more as a person, as a player every day, and I enjoy the process of that, and that makes me happy.
Absolutely. Folks, catch him on The Break, presented by The General. And probably this weekend, I think those games are either streamed or shown on TV. Get to see you take on Bronny James. And good luck in the rest of the Winter Showcase and with the Magic. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mac.